In this video, we will try to address the question, how did globalization affect cash crop farmers in 19th century British colonies? By the mid of 19th century, there was a huge demand for tea in Britain. Britain imported most of its tea from China, which was the major producer. It had all the tea plants, and it guarded the tea plants against any outsiders because tea trade was so profitable for it. By the mid of 19th century, Britain had already been trading opium for tea with China. More correctly, it had imposed this opium trade on China. It was not really an equal trade. But, Britain was still trying to find a way to reduce its costs. So, it figured out that if they started growing tea in their British colonies, the price for tea would go even further down. So, in 1843, Robert Fortune, a botanist, carried on a ship a collection of tea plants from China. He actually sort of smuggled these out of China. These plants were taken sort of illegally, and he was carrying them to India, which was a British colony, and eventually they were planted in India and tea would be grown there. So Britain found a way to get the tea plants and start growing them in its own colonies, thus reducing the costs of tea production. Later on, the tea plants will be taken to Ceylon, another British colony. Here you can see Ceylon on the map. Now, who would be the tea pickers in Ceylon? Well, there were some Tamils, landless Tamils, who were brought from southern India to the Ceylon, and they became the tea pickers. They were landless and they were willing to basically become cash crop farmers. The Tamils, they would not do any traditional farming. They wouldn't grow their own food, so they would depend on growing tea and on selling this tea so they could earn money for it, and then they would be able to purchase food. So what would happen if the price of tea fluctuated, or if there were other problems such as droughts? Well, such situation happened in 1876 to 1878. Ceylon experienced a severe drought. As a result, agriculture failed and less food was produced. The Tamils had to sell their tea in order to buy food, but the price of food skyrocketed because not enough food was produced, and also because this drought coincided with a world recession, sort of a world global recession. When we have a global recession, luxury commodities such as tea were in less demand, so the price of tea went down. So what would the Tamils do? They could not eat the tea, they could not sell the tea for a good price or even for enough money to be able to buy food to feed themselves. So that led to starvation. Thousands of Tamils died from hunger. So this little scenario basically illustrates how a cash crop agriculture is so dependent on fluctuation of prices and so vulnerable to droughts. And these Tamil tea pickers were absolutely not able to protect themselves against external factors. And we can see how globalization affects cash crop farmers who are not anymore in charge of producing their own food. Thank you for watching.